time on one of the raids, dude, we're like, this is my brother's house. I'm like, well, the major told us that it was, suspected, terrorist.
No shit.
No, it's my brother. So, it's so dumb, dude. We had it coordinated to where the truck would come in and pick up the detainee, the IP truck come through. Well, they never came through, so what happens? We had to fucking run our happy ass with this guy back over his head.
Oh, you're mounted the whole time?
We walked there.
No,
we
shit.
walked there, and
just
then we're
all
on the door. Just MBGs down, we're all there. And then as soon as we go right in there, fucking knock the doors down. And then the guy's like, I'll take care of it, my brother. Well, we're like, hey, where's the truck at? I'm like, nothing, dude. Like, nothing, dude. Like, hey, fuck it, we're walking back, we're running, dude. Make sure he doesn't trip. So
it's like the suspected Al Qaeda dude or whatever.
With a bag on his head, he's trying to get him to run with
all
you.
it was like, yeah, we're gonna let him go with his brother. And then we're like, fuck it, next one. So we just kind of did our own patrol, started putting up little posts, and now we're like, when it came to raids or just hitting a house real quick, it was like, yeah, we'll think about it now. I don't know what's going on over here with you guys, because it's just.
It could have been somebody dude that owed them money or something.
Well, that's what it come down to. As soon as we have somebody that was giving us good intel, and we'd get a couple good freaking hits, you could tell. Then they're like, "Oh, I got this guy. He just didn't like that guy.
Yeah.
There's nothing there." So like we'd start hitting shit that he was pointing out, and it would be legit, and he'd get paid for it, and we'd pay him for some. So we paid him to hit somebody that he didn't like, and just tear up the guy's houses and ruin the guy's night and freaking.
And just keep him for days in the fucking
and
in the
it was just that guy being a dickhead. So then you go like, okay, no more from that guy. But like that's just, that's how they are, man.
People we got.
That's where you get our best intel from is the biggest dickheads.
Yeah,
that you can imagine, man. Yeah.
You can't change them the way they think. And
Absolutely
as much as we try to go in and not so much westernize them, but try to keep them away from what they've been raised their whole life.
Yeah.
It's just so hard. So it's very useless to even do like a lot of this hearts and minds thing. So it's just like, well,
it's a trip, man.
The fuck,
for sure. Well, you get where like, when I came home and I was looking at the news and I was looking at shit, I was just like, shit, what's going on? And this is after the first push in. We were there for the first 12 months. Yeah. And then we got called back and spent more time over there. But after the first 12 months, I went home. And you look at the news and you're just like, Jesus Christ, that place is a war zone. Yeah. It's still just a war zone. Well, then you kind of wrap your head around it, like, no, all they're showing on the news is the things that are happening all over the entire country that are going off. Not how they don't show you anything about how much better it's getting. And then you start getting upset. I got upset, man, about like, they're just putting out their agenda and they're just pushing this forward the way that they want to view it. But then after a little while, I started realizing, like, no, it's the people, it's us, it's the American people. It's not an agenda that the media is going after when they're selling that. It's for the money. It's what sells. Yeah. So you forget,
blood sells, blood and dead bodies sell.
Exactly, it does. Yeah. It's unfortunate. Like we spent so much time, man, and put people to work building schools and rebuilding schools and put kids back in school. Where in these neighborhoods, it was 2 generations hadn't even seen a school. So when you start putting people through school and start getting you get 9 teachers got jobs, and now all these other people have jobs now that they didn't have before, and you start pushing that through and creating a whole system throughout. We were just doing it in our sector, and I know it was happening all over the country. We had this one area. It was just this huge lot. It was like just a vacant lot in amongst this huge crowded town. Every once in a while, you just have that big dirt lot, and there was no trash system to come pick up trash or anything. So this lot was like years of just trash built up. It was like 3 stories high of fucking trash. So that's just all it was just cumulative. So we were looking at it, and we're like, well, we need to put a trash system in with this because it's just disgusting. It was bad. It was leaking out, and it was just when it would rain, it just would cause this nasty shit in the streets.
Disease
right. So then, first we had to fix the sewage because you guys, being in certain places, you see in the beginning, man, it was bad. It was just black in the street, just black, just overrunning the sewage.
Up in Mosul, like it rained. Yeah. When it would rain, it would just
and that smell, and that's all it was everything would just rise up. So what we did is we got it funded, and we got all this heavy equipment and everything to get all that trash out of there and get it moved and clear out that lot. And we had paid people to come in and turn it into a soccer field. So now all the kids in the neighborhood have a fucking soccer field. It was awesome. So I get home, and you don't see anything about the schools. You don't see anything about cleaning up. You don't see anything about turning power on. People that went years without power now have power, and sewage and everything. Nobody knows that. Nobody knows anything about all that we put into place and actually help fix a place and bring it up. Nobody knows anything about that because, honestly, to tell the truth, when we go by, I mean, we don't do newsstands anymore, do we?
No.
But if you go by 2 newsstands, and you're freaking looking at 2 newspapers, and you see one with happy kids in front of a school, and you see one with a burning tank, which one are you going to get? The majority of people are going to grab that one with the burning tank on it, and that's what the media understands, and that's what they know, and it's about money, man. And that's why the people have no clue what's actually going on downrange.
It's just and there's like just also there's a lot of stuff in terms of the media does they kind of I think they kind of balance the line. Because like it's awful because like they want to show the burning tank, they want to show the dead Americans, but when we start putting the hammer down and we're going in by force and cleaning up these bad areas like the Ramatis, the Fallujahs, the the Talifars and places like that, then it spins again to Americans burned down somebody's house or drove a tank through somebody's house or X amount of civilians were killed here, this, that, and the other, and it's an awful, awful, vicious game you have to play. But like, when we were in Mosul in 06, like my deployment was kind of weird. I had a chance to go all over the country, and it was 10 years ago, and I was private, so I didn't really see big picture. But one of the things that stuck with me is we went up 2 kilometers north into Kurdistan, like the autonomous area.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever heard about the Kurds fighting ISIS right now.
Right.
And so we're going down there to do some meet the local people and shit. And this girl comes up, she's in jeans, like top, and I'm like, what the hell's going on with this? Because I'm expecting burkas and whatnot.
Turkish.
And no, they're Kurds. And she was like, hey, I'm a Christian. And I'm like, what, really, you're a Christian? I didn't even know that Christians up there. And she's like, yeah, I'm a Syrian Christian. And she's like, I'm really glad you're here. Thank you. I'm like, well, me and my buddy were like, hey, we weren't here. We just got here. We're only here a few months. And she's like, no, without Americans here, I couldn't go down to Mosul to go to Mosul University and go to school. As a female, you can't go to school, especially as a Christian female, you can't go to school.
Right.
And I have relatives in Canada. I eventually want to get my engineering degree, move to Canada, and then try to become American.
And she can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we leave, and we all, especially when I like all the nonsense last year with ISIS run around Mosul, beheading babies and crucifying people and like selling women be sex slaves or whatever, forced marriages. Like it really broke my heart because like talking to those people like that 10 years ago and like the little kids from like now that are teenagers, this has happened to them and just I don't know. It kept me up for a couple of days. I was a little sad.
Absolutely.
Yeah. When I came home from my first deployment, I got back in on March 31st, 2007, and first week home, I talked to my grandfather. He's like, "Oh, we should just make the whole place a glass parking lot." Well, time out, Papa. Yeah, we got to talk about this for a second.
Yeah.
Because when we were over there, we had little kids that were our friends. Like, whenever we go out on patrols or whatever, little kids. I had a little kid that I'd give candy every time I seen him. Or right before we left, one of my best friends. It's funny because names are pretty much just swapped. John Michael and Michael John.
Okay.
So it's pretty hilarious. So right before he left, he had this little girl, had the most gorgeous smile you ever seen. Probably 8 years old, toothbrush. Here you go, kid. It was hilarious. Or Operation Hyper Kids, we ran around just giving kids ribbons.
Yeah.
Worst idea we've ever
Dude, just running around bouncing off the walls, man.
Well, we had like a stack of ribbons,
man.
Give me ribbon.
We did.
I would have hated to come in after
Not
that.
even chocolate.
Oh,
Give me ribbon.
We had this stack of cases of ribbons. We're like, what are we going to do with these? And I told my squad leaders, we need to go on Operation Hyper Kids. So we give all the kids in town that we pass the ribbon as we're going through on the patrol,
Dude, you get grunts spun out on that shit. I can't imagine what you do with the kids.
So, like, when I got back there, I was telling them, I was like, we had friends out there. We had good people. We had little kids that loved us being there. I mean, there's some that throw rocks at us and you just use a slingshot and smoke them with it. But, or like one kid threw a rock and his dad yoked him up and just beat the hell out of him right there in the street. But, I mean, we had good people out there that were just trying to live their lives. And I was trying to tell my grandfather this, and all he's doing at home is sitting watching the news. That's all he sees.
Meat grinder.
Exactly,
And I mean, that's what sucks is when older people like that lived through Vietnam and all this other stuff, they don't understand that there's still good people around. And these other countries that we might be at war with.
Wars and stuff.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you know, but there's still people there out there that are trying to help us.
Lock and Load is your reliable source for firearms and accessories sales. We are located on the corner of Eastern and Serene in the same plaza as Gold's Gym and Denny's, right near the Eastern and I-215 exit. Offering semi-automatic rifles, handguns, ammunition, magazines and pouches, reloading supplies, tactical gear, optics, suppressors, and more. For more information, call Lock and Load today at 702-360-GUNS or visit lockandloadgunstore.com.
Dude, funny stories. So, we were sitting there in Rupa in Alambar, far western side, and one of my boys was sitting there up on a wall, and all of a sudden, we're sitting there, the squad leader's, hey, we gotta post up, hold security for a little bit, so everybody's kind of like sitting down, relaxing and everything, and my buddy's kneeling down at this wall, goes to stand up, legs dead, sleep, falls right into a mud puddle.
Yeah.
It was so, like, that's the maddest I've ever seen this guy. And I've known this guy since 2006. So he just straight slings his rifle around his back, grabs his M9, because it's covered in mud at this point, grabs his IP brush and just...
Like, no, this happens. Like, oh, yeah, I meant to happen.
He is so mad that he's just not even,
Was he like
not
Livio-
even caring
like
what's
Livio
going on
mad?
around him. Oh, he straight
Have you ever
Hulk,
seen Livio
like,
mad?
Oh, yeah.
dude, he just
Yeah.
was like so
I
mad. He
picture
didn't
him.
say anything to anybody. He just was cleaning his pistol.
I see you going green.
It's
With
just
the scruff.
mad as hell. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. Just leg buckled underneath him, just splash.
You know how like you have that like, I don't know. You guys remember the first time you heard rounds crack?
Yeah. My
Yeah.
staff sergeant stopped in the middle of the road. Actually, a round passed by 4 of us. He stopped in the middle of the road. Are these fuckers really shooting at us and like
Right.
doing a tantrum out in the middle of the open? And the other 3 of us were behind the wall. And he's still out there throwing his little tantrum, like
Yeah.
freaking out. These motherfuckers really shooting at us and like stomping around and shit. Like,
We were coming back from fuck, I remember, I think it was Samara where I pushed to Mosul in 05, and I'd been in the country like a month. I'm 19, I was an idiot, like I didn't know what the fuck was going on, and we're coming back, doing something, we hit the quick bypass, and we're getting on MSR Tampa, and there was this big cluster of vehicle traffic, and I guess explosive ordnance was up the road doing their thing, but apparently, I don't remember what it was, somebody like had placed an IED in a dead dog, or like a roadside bomb in a dead dog, or we don't know if it was a dead dog, but like, oh, we're gonna blow it in place, we're gonna blow this dead dog in place. I'm like,
Right.
what's going on? I'm like, okay. So we pushed through that, and then like, it was like pop, pop, and I dropped in the turret, and my TC at the time was from Kenya, Africa. Like, my truck commander's from Kenya, Africa, and I'm like, what was that? What was that? He's like, Okara, what happened? He's like, what happened? And I'm like, I think we just got shot at. He's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm ducking down. He's like, well, get back up in the turret and get behind the gun.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. You know, trying to get behind this fucking gun. But no, it's just the response was like, okay, you got shot at, get behind the gun.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you
Yeah.
know,
Right.
Well,
You
the
turn fire.
yeah, get back
Well-
on it. I'm like, okay. And like, in the village we got shot at, like, we'd already passed it. And I was just like,
Yeah. It doesn't matter then. Yeah.
yeah. But like, the fact that I dropped down is like, okay, I don't care. Get back up in the gun. Like,
The second time I ever heard rounds crack, well, the first time is a whole nother story, man. It was that checkpoint I was telling you about
Yeah.
with the Bradleys. It was at that checkpoint the first time I ever heard it. But the second time is similar to what you're saying. I was, you know, we didn't have armored trucks. We didn't even have turrets on our Humvees. And what we had was take a board and put it across the freaking roof.
And
The-
place your
the
tripod
soft-
or whatever?
The soft shell roof, right? You take a board, strap that down, and then you take a tripod, and you make grooves in the board so the tripod fits in there, and then you strap that down, and then you take a fucking strap and you stick it to the freaking tripod, and you strap yourself to the tripod, and that's how you freaking run your gun. So basically, you have this amount of area that you can run with your 240, and your driver has to understand that you can't get your crew serve unless he's pointing at the fucking target. The rest of it is your M4 and a gunsling where you're doing this, or over the top trying to do this with your M4.
Yeah.
That's all you got, man. So we had one command vehicle, which is a 4-seater, and a little space in the back for the gunner to stand, and then you have a cargo truck to where there's a 2-seater, and you have troops lined up in
roll
the back.
slide through dismounts.
Right, and then you have a gunner on the on the back too. Well, I was on the a cargo truck. I was in the back of the cargo truck, and I'm sitting there. And it was TBI kicking. You can see that. So I was on the back of the cargo truck, sitting there on the gun, and like you said, like vehicles are all backed up, and we're figuring out. And there's another unit up forward doing a vehicle control point, and they're checking vehicles and shit. So it's all backed up. And there's a average size wall, but when you're standing on the back of a Humvee, you're standing higher than that wall. And it was a bunch of blown out buildings and stuff. And we knew there was squatters in there. We knew there was a lot going on there. We just didn't fuck with them. There was no threat in there usually. So I'm standing there, and you kind of hear gunfire so often in the distance that you don't even think about it anymore. But you hear some gunfire, and then I hear a couple rounds crack. So then you just have that where I want to stay low enough to where I'm getting low, but I still want to stay high enough to where I can see what's going on. My gun is pointed that way, so I'm like, fuck. So I'm trying to bring my M4 up, and I'm looking for muzzle flash. So it's funny, I'm like, I want to get down, but I still want to see what's going on. So I'm doing this weird freaking bobbing up and down, trying to fucking see shit. Hearing rounds crack, I'm hearing rounds hit the wall, and I finally start catching muzzle flash. So I bring up, red dots on light, real low. And I'm trying to put rounds on the freaking on the muzzle flash, and so finally the commander from the front truck is just like, "Hey, what the fuck is it?" And I'm like, "It's one. Well, I can only see one muzzle flash," and he's like 75 yards in, 100 meters in, 75 meters in, 100 meters in. So there's a fucking gap in the wall right there. So they fucking straight push cars out of the way, just start shoving cars forward, get through. There's a gap in the wall. We get through the wall and start rushing in, and get through to where fucking finally my truck's pointed at it and just putting the pig on it. And I don't know, they only fucking found a couple things in there. They didn't find much, but it's funny, that round cracks and you're doing this weird freaking gopher bob, and freaking I want to see, but I don't want to get hit. Yeah. So you and everybody else in the back of the truck, they're like, what's going on? I got fucking 8 dudes back there. It's kind of what are you doing? And I'm like fucking bobbing up and down.
And everybody's this in the back,
they're like, what are you doing?
Wake me up, it's not
One of the best things I ever heard, I was actually in boot camp. One of my drill instructors looked at me, and I was on the rifle range. He's like, "You hear the cracks?" I was like, he's like, "That's the rounds breaking the sound barrier over your head." Mm-hmm. He goes, "You hear cracks, you're fine." He goes, "You hear whizzes, you better put your ass to the ground." I was like, "Hold on, what?" And he kind of explained what was going on. And once we pushed into Iraq, this thing started clicking. You hear rounds cracking. So, okay, I can pop my head up a little bit. As soon as you hear that whiz, all right.
Well, did you giggle when you went down too?
A little bit lower right now. But he's like, the cracks is going to save your ass. He goes,
whatever I've ever noticed, whizzing is from when something actually comes off of something else. So I've only ever heard whizzing when it was smacking stuff.
That's when it
and
slows
coming
down.
off. Right, it already hit something and it's kind of whizzing by.
When you
the
hear
Kraken's, the Kraken's coming around.
I've only had just the cracks, not the whizzing.
I've only heard the whizzing when I could tell it's hitting something in front of us and fucking whizzing over, after it's already hit something. So that's kind of a fucking stray bitch going to wherever the fuck.
Just the eye opener too is during training you're like, oh, those motherfuckers want to kill you, we're gonna shoot at you. Yeah. But it doesn't sink in until there's actually somebody shooting at you. Yeah. Well, we're about to switch posts at night, and then we're about to step off, and all you hear is this crack, 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 right in the hallway and everything. Yeah. We're like, hey, hold on, stand by. The guns are going off. We're like, we should go switch posts. We go out there and switch posts. And then that's when, as soon as you see the 240 going off, I was like, whoa, dude, this is the real shit. Motherfuckers are actually trying to fucking kill us,
Right.
Trying to actually, that's when it really sinks in.
Right.
And that's something I try to pass on to my guys before, my other tour. Yanton, I was like, you're going to feel like this, you don't want to kill you, but once they actually shoot at you, it just sinks in, dude. Yeah. After that time, they were like, whoa, dude, can you believe this? They were shooting at us. And I'm like, yeah, it's like I told you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey everybody, Trevor of Battlefield Vegas here. Now, what's the best way to end your Vegas vacation? How about crushing a car with a tank?
right, guys, thanks for joining us. I hope at least we made some people laugh. Maybe even open some eyes. Thanks for joining us, guys. Appreciate it. Love you guys.
Love you.
Thanks for being here.
See you next time.
He loves you.
You love him?
Wait. Oh, yeah, dude. Down.